Welcome everyone. I am extremely excited for today's video. It's been a bit in the making. Started out with one idea, I kind of moved it to another and been going around, but I landed on finally what I want to do. So today we're going to be taking a look at two unique ranged cavalry. The first being the Bashkir Archer for Russia, and the second being the Prinze Chevauleger for Germany. Now, I couldn't quite figure out exactly how I wanted to do this, but I think the style I'll go for is first, I'm going to start with the Bashkir Archer, but I'm going to basically give like an overview, and then I'm going to go into the overview including like what's unique about it and basically how do you access it. Then the second, we're going to go into the stats, and third, I'm just going to basically talk about how I use them and how I like them. So let's get into it. The Bashkir Archer is available to the Russians via the Bashkir Rebellion card. Now what this card does is number one, it turns all your Cossacks into the Bashkir Archers, but number two, it enables you to train the Bashkir Archers in your native embassies. Now the Bashkir Archers are actually just renamed Tatar Horse Archers, which are available at the Tengri native site. But what it does is it enables you to train them without build limit, but with pop cost. Now, the overview of like what this unit is it's a one pop, very cheap, high damage, anti-all cavalry ranged cav. And that's the basic overview. Of course, we'll get into the details and the stats, but that's the start. Now, let's just go through their stats here real quick. So the first thing you'll notice is they have 175 HP. Their base is actually 140, but due to you only accessing this unit age 3 with like basically a shadow tech, we'll just start with those stats. So 175 HP, 20% hand attack resist, and 7.25 speed. Now this is a cav archer unit, so that makes sense why it has the hand attack resist, but it also has that high speed cav archers don't. So while yes, they have the hand attack resist, I find a lot of times that doesn't come too much into play, because at least if you're microing really well, you will stay at range. So that's why, like, even though it's nice to have the hand attack resist, it won't come into play near as much as it does for things like war wagons, cav archers. There are a few unique things here with their range attack. The first being that they have a very low range attack, it's only 6 when we get them in age 3, but they have a rate of fire of 1.25, which is very, very fast. If we can like compare it to a Dragoon with a 3 rate of fire, we're doing 2.4 shots every time a Dragoon shoots once. So if we want to find their true damage, we can basically go 6 times 2.4. And you can scale that up through the ages, and it's quite high. They have 13 range, as well as a very high multiplier versus all cavalry. 4.5 versus all cavalry is their multiplier, but they do have a 0.5 multiplier versus light ranged cavalry. So ultimately, it's basically like them having, I don't know why they didn't just do it this way. It's more simple. If they would have just given heavy cavalry a 4.5 multiplier and light range cavalry a 4.25 or 2.25, because that's really what it is. So that may seem like not much, but before I really have to like explain these stats. So age 3, when you get this one pop unit with his 6 ranged attack, if we like basically add it up to what, like counting in the rate of fire and everything, it's basically as if it was a Dragoon doing 64.8 damage. And that is also not including how much there's not overkill, basically. Like, Dragoons can overkill a lot. A lot of Dragoons will shoot one cav, and it doesn't, like, it'll waste a ton of damage. Does not happen with this unit just because it spreads out its shots everywhere. So that is insane. And just before I move on, 64 damage, 64.8 like damage versus a heavy cavalry is insane when you compare it to the fact that a 2-pop Dragoon only has 79. So that's absolutely crazy. These things shred hand cav, or heavy cav, but usually it's hand cav. The 0.5 multiplier versus light cavalry means they only do 32.4 like true damage counting in the rate of fire, which is still really good. This is a 1 pop unit. 32.4 is amazing. They do have a 2x multiplier versus artillery, which is about like it being 28.8 damage counting rate of fire. All these things I'm just adding in rate of fire just because I think that's really the best way to show how good this unit is. One thing that I need to mention is that I will not go through their industrial and imperial stats, just because, number one, I think that would take too long, make this video extra long, but I will give you a quick little helpful tip, which is that if you're playing it yourself and you want to do some nice quick math for how much damage it's actually doing, just take whatever the ranged attack is and times it by 2.4 to find what it would be if it attacked with a rate of fire of 3. So that's just a quick little tip there. One big thing here that I have to say is their siege. They have 8 siege attack, but they have a 1 rate of fire. Now let's just let that sink in. This is a 1 pop unit with 8 siege attack and a 1 rate of fire. Most siege attacks have a 3 rate of fire. So this is a 1 pop light ranged cav that is actually doing like 24 siege versus buildings. That is insane. No other Dragoon comes close. Just the normal Dragoon has 10.8 siege. And it's 2 pop. So that is absolutely crazy. So yes, this unit is an absolute beast. It performs pretty well versus musketeers and skirmishers. Although it does a lot worse to cannons because it does have a comparatively low HP, so area attack actually does pretty well. So if you're wondering how to counter these, area attack does really well against them. But it does do fairly well against, musketeers, halberdiers, things like that. Not only because it has a +1 range, but just because it does put out a lot of damage. Its cost is quite high at a base. It is 90 food and 55 wood, but that can be lowered by 25% with the native warriors card becoming 67 food, 67.5 food, and 41.25 wood. I'm not sure what those come out to exactly, what the game decides, but I think it's something like 67.41. I don't think it has the points. So definitely gets a lot cheaper going from 145 resources to just about a little over 100. So while this is, what to put this in context, is while this unit is very good for its pop, it's not so good for its cost until you get that Native Warriors card. So it's really quite necessary to get that in there if you really want it to be like the king of the game. There is also something I have to mention about this card, is that it has a built-in cost, basically. Because Age 3 cards are worth 1,000 resources around there. So, and they base that off of, like, a lot of things have, like, 8 skirmishers, all this stuff. Usually adds up to around 1,000 resources, and, you got the 1,000 resource crates, so all of that's around the same area. So it has a built-in cost that if you send this card, yes, it makes your units cheaper, but you're not getting 1,000 resources worth of stuff. Now, if you build 27 or more after sending this card, then it was worth sending, basically. Except for maybe some tempo issues. It's really, really nice to have. So if you are able to send that, absolutely do that. They also, even though they only can be trained from your 3 native embassies, they do train fairly fast. I'm not sure the exact speed, but it's fast enough. Once you get all 3, you're never behind, basically. So very, very strong. My favorite pairing with this is the Falconet, because number 1, you can attack other cannons, and number 2, it does really well against its obvious counters, things like the infantry. Even though it does fairly well against infantry compared to other dragoons, it obviously will still lose. So Falconets will take care of those. And these Bashkir Archers will take care of other dragoons and other cavalry even better than other ranged calves, so you can protect your cannons a lot more. So definitely a good combo there. Just go Falconet, Bashkir Archer, Culverins as needed, because like I said, Bashkir Archers aren't great against artillery, but really once it gets steamrolling, once this mass gets steamrolling, it's really hard to stop. And another thing nice about the pairing of the Falconet and the Bashkir Archer is it spreads out all your resources, because the Bashkir Archer doesn't cost coin, so you can kind of spread out your vills, spend that coin on Falconets, spend your wood and food on the Bashkir Archer, and it just works beautifully. Before we move on to the Chevauleger, I want to ask that if you like these types of videos, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you think anything I've said here was wrong, or if you just have a personal experience with them and what you think about them. These videos, while I certainly enjoy making them, are a lot harder. They definitely take a lot more time and energy, and actually that reminds me of today's sponsor, Neuro. Neuro sells gums and mints made to energize, calm, and bring you focus whenever you're in need. It was developed by athletes trained at the highest levels who didn't want to rely on mysterious supplements or energy drinks when studying, training, or going out. And they didn't want something sugary or ineffective either, but rather something clean that gave balanced energy and which could be taken anytime, anywhere. Neuro's gone through dozens of formulations, processes, and tests to ensure each gum and mint they make delivers on their promise of getting you in the right state at the right time. I was sent their Energy and Focus gum, which is formulated using natural caffeine, L-theanine, and B vitamins, meaning it has what it takes to sustain your mental endurance and maintain your focus, whether you're making a YouTube video, studying, or just going about your day. I personally love this stuff. Not only is it great at giving me energy and clearing my mind, but it's also just a really great chew. The flavors are perfectly balanced, and unlike other gums, I've had no trouble with it dissolving, even when I chewed one for basically an entire day. If you're constantly struggling to keep your focus and get what you need done, well, done, then go check out Neuro and use my link shown on screen or in the description/pinned comment to get up to 20% off. Now, on to the Chevauleger. The Prinze Chevaulegers are available to the Germans via an Age 3 card called the Princely Bavarian Chevaulegers. This shipment costs 500 food, but it ships 8 of these Prinze Chevaulegers. No extra Ulans. Those are basically like the mercenary cards. It sends extra Prinze Chevaulegers instead of Ulans. So that's pretty straightforward there. It will disable the War Wagon in the stable, and instead you will be able to train the Prinze Chevauleger. But the ones you have on the map, all the War Wagons you already have on the map, will stay War Wagons. So there is that. Also, all shipments will be adjusted to ship more Prinze Chevaulegers than like you would get War Wagons, because obviously War Wagons are worth more because they cost more pop and stuff like that. So definitely a fairly easy to tech into. Yes, it has a cost, but you get enough, it's worth it. And it's definitely a little easier to mass than the War Wagon, just due to its cheaper cost as well. Originally, this video was just going to be an in-depth dive on the Chevauleger, but I kind of just discovered the Bashkir Archers while I was thinking about this video, and I just discovered some fun strategies with it, and so I just had to include it in this video looking at, well, unique range cav. But I also think they go really well together, showing 2 ways to make a light range cavalry good at countering other light range cavalry. The Bashkir Archer is obviously very straightforward. It's good against other light range cavalry because it has high damage and a multiplier against light range cavalry. But the Chevauleger is a little bit different. The reason I think it's good against light range cavalry is its high hand attack, and I'll show you exactly why that does make it so good in just a bit. First, let's go through its stats. So it has 282 HP. That is not its base HP, but it does Shadow Tech Age 3 like most Dragoon units. So yeah, it has 282 HP. It has 20% range resist, which means its ranged HP is actually 352, which is quite high, and it has 7 speed. Now, it is slightly slower than other Dragoon units because it has 0.25 less. Most Dragoons are 7.25 like the Bashkir Archer is, but really that's kind of necessary for it to be lower, because if it was higher, it would be a little too good against other Dragoon units. A ranged attack is quite low compared to other ranged cavalry. A standard Dragoon has 26.4 when you first have access to it, Age 3, whereas this unit only has 23. Has normal range, only 12 range, but it has a low multiplier against heavy cavalry. It has a 2.75 versus heavy cavalry compared to Dragoon's 3x. Has a same 2x versus artillery, And the same, actually it has a lower multiplier versus hand shock infantry too, 2.25 less. So its ranged attack is not that great. I'm just going to put that out there. That's not what it's made for, though. That's not what this unit is good at. Yes, if you need to stipe units, go ahead and use this ranged attack, but what really is going to shine here is the hand attack. One thing to also note here about the ranged attack is they don't fire quite instantly like Dragoons do. Yes, they can still hit and run. They're better at that than Cav Archers are, but they're definitely, you can feel the slowness. So that is something to note. So let's move on to the hand attack. That's really, really what's going to be big here. It has 31 hand attack when you first have access to it, with a 1.6 multiplier versus heavy cavalry. Other range cav, like the Dragoon, keeps its 3x, but this thing, its hand attack is so strong that it's just better. So yeah, there's that. It has a 1.2 multiplier versus hand shock infantry and a 0.6 versus light infantry, which are skirmisher units. Which, even with that 0.6, it's still better against light infantry than other Dragoons are in hand attack. So that's pretty big. I think the easiest way to think of this unit is that it is essentially, in my mind, a skirm-goon combo breaker. Now, yes, it by itself will not break that combo, but it paired with skirmishers will beat other skirm-goon combos, because if you get into a fight, you can set some of your Chevaulegers to hand attack, and your Chevaulegers will be countering the enemy Dragoons, your skirmishers will be countering the enemy Dragoons, and the enemy skirmishers will not be doing as well against your Chevaulegers as they do against normal Dragoon units. Number one, because yes, the Chevauleger has more HP, including ranged HP, because they have the same range resist as Dragoons. And if the Chevauleger gets into hand attack, that just means the skirmishers are doing even less damage. So it's definitely a very strong skirm-goon combo versus other skirm-goon combos. If your opponent is going Musketeers, I definitely stick with War Wagons because of, number one, they have extra range, so that's just really helpful. And as well as the hand attack resist. Both those are just really nice if you're fighting things like Musketeers. So definitely this unit is matchup dependent. If you're going against Dutch, it's great. If you're going against like British Musketeer longbow, it's not near as good. So definitely keep on watch with that. But otherwise, I absolutely love this unit. It is a ton of fun, especially after you get the Spanish Riding School and all the cards on them. They are absolutely insane. They just get super high stats. They're great raiders. They're very fun in team games. And they micro really nicely. Yes, the range attack takes a little bit to shoot, but even still, it's just an absolutely fun beast. Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you do, comment down below, tell me on Discord, give it a like, whatever. I certainly, like I said before, enjoy making these. So I hope I get to make more in the future. I hope this does well. Once again, if I said anything incorrect, let me know. Sometimes my math is messed up. Whatever. I would say that's all I have to say, but I actually do have an announcement to make, and that is that the website is back up. The old one, it ran out, and we couldn't renew it because Sam couldn't get in contact with the guy who built it before. Whatever, but it is back up. It is SamuraiRevolution.gg, not .com.gg. The focus of the website is going to be on the strategy school. Now, obviously, it has the About Me, it has links to our Discord, all that stuff. But the focus is definitely going to be the strategy school page. And on there, we'll have a list of all the different civs, and you'll be able to click on one, click on a strategy you like, and figure out a build order, watch a video on the build order, hopefully. I'm hoping to make videos on a bunch of different build orders and stuff. So go check that out. I'll probably put it on the screen. It'll be a link, or it'll be somewhere. You'll be able to find it. You can join the Discord, and actually, one thing we hope to do with this is kind of make this a community thing. So if you want your fun build order you have to maybe make into a video, or just go up on the website, go over to the Samurai Revolution Discord, and go to the Strategy School Submissions channel, and put your strategy school in there. It'll have certain rules as to how it should be set up, and I will test them out, or I'll have someone test them out, and if they work, if they're good, I'll either make a video on it, or we'll put it up on the page, or whatever. So definitely go test that out, and see what you like. Let us know if you think the website's good, what you think might be changed, all that stuff. Once again, it's SamuraiRevolution.gg. I apologize for this sort of weird cut. Originally, that was my plan to end the video there, but Christmas came up and all this stuff happened, you know, the holidays, stuff gets busy, and I realized that this might be a good place, as it is almost the end of the year, or by the time this may come out, it may be the new year. I realized this might be a good place to kind of put the reason behind the channel out there and kind of explain some of my plans for this new year. First off, I just have to say, context, I am a Christian. The guy who ran the channel before is a Christian. And ultimately, while yes, we have loved making channels for the content, he used to. You know, obviously he's retired now, and I still do. Ultimately, the purpose behind the channel is not just to make content, but to do our job as Christians, him and I's job as Christians, to be a light to the world, as the Bible said. So, one way that he did this in the past was during his live streams, he would have a verse of the day and explain the gospel and things like that. But I live out in the country. Yes, I am a country boy. So it's a little bit hard because our internet here is not consistent enough to do live streams. So I can't really do that verse of the day things type thing during the live stream. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to do something like the verse of the day or things like that somehow through videos. I'm not sure how I'll do it, but I'll figure it out because, like I said, ultimately that is what I'm here to try to do, both for the channel and in life in general. But other than that, just on the channel itself, the planned focus is to focus on the strategy school. Obviously, as I mentioned, the website will be doing all that stuff with the strategy school, but videos themselves on the strategy school, because that's what it seemed people like the most. And also, that's the planned focus. It's a little bit hard sometimes just because that you have to do that with someone else, like Danzel or Shake, as we've done before, and things like that. So it can be a little bit struggle scheduling and things like that. But I will definitely be working on that. I don't think I have anything else to say here. This will be the final actual ending. Again, go to the website, check all that out, and if you have any ideas as to how I can do like gospel sharing and stuff like that, so I guess here I'm specifically speaking to my Christian brothers. If you have any ideas on how I can do that through the videos like Sam did through the live streams, let me know. Check out Discord, go check out the website, and thank y'all all for watching. This has been a great year, and I am so excited for this upcoming year to continue to make videos for y'all. So that'll be all. See y'all.